Okay, welcome to the Provider Podcast. And today I'm going to be talking fishing. I'm going to be talking doing what you love. I'm going to be talking business. I'm going to be talking well-being with a very special guest, no other than Milan Radonich from the Lateral Line. Welcome, Milan.
How are you, Carl?
I'm very, very well, mate. Nice day here on the Coromandel. Whereabouts are you and how are you spending your lockdown?
In Morrinsville, just chilling out, doing a bit of work on the section.
Yeah.
Can't complain. Yep.
Nice. Who are you spending it with?
I just got the family, but most of the day just out on the planting fruit trees and got all my supplies all sorted. So I've got a new sections that I'm working on. So it's nice and easy.
Awesome. Yeah, I must admit I've been enjoying a bit of chill time, bit of much needed time in the garden. Yeah. I didn't give it much love over autumn, while as pretty hardcore fishing and even early winter. So it's nice to just have some nice full days to get stuck in and do the hard mahi.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, team, is take the Milan's mask off that you see on his very popular TV shows. You're not wearing your hat today, Milan?
Not wearing my hat. Not doing TV anymore. Doing YouTube now, brother.
Yeah, exactly. And just delve into what makes Milan tick, and talk about sort of his ties to nature and fishing. So you're a Waikato boy, Milan. I first met you. We go back a wee way. Met in Hamilton while you're working at the hunting, fishing, shooting shop. And I remember you taking me on some pretty epic missions back in the day, turning me into a mountain goat, scaling cliffs to Stony Bay and various places in the Coromandel Harbour. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and what rings your bells about fishing, how you got into it, and what you love about being outdoors.
Well, I suppose I had my uncle Steve, and he was right into his hunting and fishing. So I used to catch the breed truck over to Tauranga and do that. But I got brought up overseas. So brought up in Taumutu 6, went to Kuwait, lived in Kuwait. That's where I got into lots of snakes and lizards and reptiles and stuff like that, living overseas. Came home when I was about 12 and lived out the back of the dairy factory. So pretty much actually used to go fishing with Renee all the time. Used to compete with Renee down the Hamilton Lake from Manic Tackle. And we used to compete for fishing spots every morning, get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to get down there to catch rudd and perch and tench. And, you know, it was cool. I don't know. I think I just enjoy being outside. I enjoy nature, right into my bugs, right into my photography of all things nature. I've kind of haven't done a lot of shooting of late. I've kind of, I don't know, I think fish kind of get kind of in a different format, if you know what I mean. We're allowed to eat fish, we can catch fish and get them, but I don't know, I've kind of pulled away. I've always had an affection for nature, so and including fish and our wildlife and our oceans and stuff like that. So it's I know I've always wanted. I started off doing trying to work out if I could be a marine biologist to do something, and I quit school because school just didn't work, and I worked in a fishing shop from the age of 12 or 13. Got a part-time job in a fishing shop after school, and then that kind of went till leaving school because school just didn't work for me. And actually my parents split up and I went to school, but I went renting, so I had to go flatting. So I had to get rent, so I had to keep a full-time job or a part-time job. And school decided that you can't go to school part-time, got to go to school full-time. So I left school and went to dive and fish and shooting shop full-time. And that's where we kind of met up and started fishing. And when that finished, I did architectural drafting because they closed down when I was about 21, I think, and went architectural drafting, and that did that. But I always still wanted to be in that fishing scene and did that for 10 years. And then one day I actually met Nikolai Matheson, who was a saltwater fly fishing guide in Tauranga, and said, hey man, I got on with them really well. And I said, let's quit our jobs and start a fishing show. And that's where the fishing show came from. But I love being outside, Carl. I choose not to have an office job now. I've been in an office and I don't want to do that. I want to be outside. I want to have my hands in the soil. I'm a huge gardener. I've got 200 or 300 different varieties of bulbs. I grow orchids. I've got lots of reptiles. I've got lots of fish. I love nature. I've got a property in Morrinsville, and we're just actually digging the garden out and moving it to another property. And I've got 100 fruit trees in the ground at that house, and we've just planted another 50 out at the new property, and just going to set that up a little bit different so I can, it's pretty much just nature, dig a big pond into it so I can bring the birds and stuff like that in as well, and rear 300 or 400 frogs every year, because we spray all our roads and we kill everything. So I rear tadpoles every year and do 300 or 400 frogs. And the garden we've got up at home, you go through the garden any time of year and there's frogs out sitting on the leaves and everything else, because we just don't use sprays on the property and stuff like that. But when you see people driving along with their spray gun out the window, spraying the ditches with Roundup and stuff like that, just randomly killing everything. And those waterways are where our frogs and where everything hangs out, and draining all our swamps and our ponds and everything like that. So we've got to start looking after the place. And
I agree, mate. It's got to start showing nature a little bit of respect. I was driving into Tairua the other day, and there's various places that a big set of power lines come into Tairua, and instead of whoever takes care of all that land just clearing it by hand, it looks like they've just completely sprayed it with Roundup by chopper, and the whole, like, that's a trail of deadness going straight into Tairua. It's like, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You can just, once you start seeing that stuff, you can't really unsee it. With our land, we've been on here 3 years, and initially when we took it over, it was pretty much bare clay, and it's just been an amazing process seeing actually nature come back, just from
making soil and
the manuka coming back through, even just the gorse coming back through, and everyone thinks it's a pest, but you actually see all around the gorse other stuff starting to come through, and that's the one of the pioneer plants, just like the wattles everyone thinks are a pest, the pioneer plants. And just slowly, once other stuff comes through, take them back. Even the kaikuia grass, which is a pain in the butt in your garden, but on some of the other banks, it's letting all the other goodness come through, like your puha, which you can eat, and your wild fennel and your mint. And it's actually an interesting process, just seeing all that stuff start to come through, and nature do its job healing itself.
Yeah, well, you end up spending less time working, so you can spend more time growing your own vegetables instead of having to work more to go to the supermarket to buy it. So
100%.
Yeah. It's a good stop work and start having more time in the garden, I say.
Yeah. So your latest project must be keeping you fairly busy. So it's a new show on YouTube called The Lateral Line. Tell us a little bit about what that's all about. I just watched your last episode, camping out on the boat, which looked like a bit of fun. Tell us a bit about what the lateral line's all about, and where did the name come from?
The lateral line actually came from, it's just every fish has a lateral line, and that's where we kind of took it from. Big Angry Fish kind of had its ending due to, I think, just everyone getting a little bit, it was just too hard, Carl. We had 13 staff, 9 full-time staff. It was a massive wheel. I was doing the funding for it, and it was a huge amount of money that you had to find every year to make sure you had all your staff covered and everything else. And it just became hard. We're in 42 countries. There was nothing in every country wanted in a different format. So you got editing suites, you got editors, you got music people, you're dealing with royalties, you're just dealing with all this stuff, and just chews up all your money. And it was an awesome thing to do. Like I could have walked away from Big Angry Fish after the first year, because I achieved the results that I wanted. All I wanted to do for my whole life, from when I was about 12 or 13, and it came back from watching Graham Sinclair and stuff like that on TV. I just thought, I want to have a fishing show on TV one day. And people kind of think it was a walk in the park. It took us 3 years, Nikolai and myself. of putting pilots together, dumped a huge amount of cash into computers and video cameras and all sorts of stuff. Back in the day where you just didn't, like at the moment, we film the lateral line on our phone, but then you had to go and spend a huge amount of money on production cameras and everything else. And we tried for 3 years to get a time slot and didn't get it. And I actually packed up, we packed the house up, my wife Karen and myself, and we actually flew to Japan. And we had the big earthquake, got to Japan, had the massive earthquake, the 9.7. And then the week after, TV3 rang up and said, "Oh, we've got your last pilot and we'll have it, and we're keen to take your TV show." And I've moved to Japan and everything. Instead of saying no to it, I decided to commute backwards and forwards from Japan for the first 3 years of Big Angry Fish. 3 weeks Japan, 3 weeks New Zealand. And, you know, it was just a huge undertaking, but it was the dream, you know. It was a dream to have a fishing show on TV, and we pulled it off and made it happen. And then every year after that was just a bonus. But coming near the end after 10 years and the politics of it, and I'm a bit of a personal, I'm a private sort of a person as well. So in the end, it was just like, hey, I don't actually require it. I don't really want it anymore. So I got what I wanted out of it. The team, I think the whole team at that stage were kind of, yep, let's just let it go. And little to me, I think because of the pressure and the hardness of it, we all gave it up. And we all went home, kind of went down. And I took a year off, and Nathan actually went out. He got right into hunting and started filming hunting videos.
Yeah, yeah.
And I started watching it, and more though because Jamie, his girlfriend at the time, couldn't come with him. So he was making videos for his partner. You know, hey, I went hunting the other day. Check out this video. Look at this.
Yeah.
And I started watching them. I was like, dude, these videos are awesome. Because Nathan's very good at. One thing Nathan's very good at is if he chooses to do something, he's going to be the best of it. You know, if it's back in his days, but with bodybuilding, he was the best in New Zealand at bodybuilding. And he's a bow hunter now, and I reckon he's the best bow hunter in the country. He was a fisherman, and he had me on one side. He'd never fished before in his life, and he had me on one side, or he had done a little bit of fishing, but not a lot, and Nikolai on the other. And he was just a sponge, and he took all the information in. Instead of just being someone that took information, he took the information and said, "Hey, why are you doing that? And why are you doing that? And we could actually do it this way." And it was better. And it was a prime example. We used to go piper fishing all the time. We used to catch piper, and we used to kill them, and you're trying to get them off and get them in the tank. And it was just and he just goes, and then the next time you go fishing, he puts a super long trace on little tiny hooks. And every time he catches a piper, he just gets his scissors out and he chops the piece of line about yay far from the piper's nose and drops the piper in the live bait tank. And he did it 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" And he goes, "I've bridle rigged all our piper." And what do you mean? He goes, "Well, all the little piper have got those little hooks stuck in them now. So you just grab the piece of mono, tie it off on your hook, and then put it out the back of the boat. And now it's bridle rigged."
That's clever.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay." You haven't touched the piper, you haven't touched them. And it worked brilliantly. Put the reel in gear, have it sitting in the rod holder, and you've got the bridle rigged piper sitting out the back. Kenny's come in and smashed them and just suck the piper down, suck the hook down, and bang, you got them on the. And I was just like, dude, I've struggled with fishing, but it's quite funny when you get somebody else come in that hasn't fished and is a thinking person. And Nathan's very much a thinking person and comes in from a different avenue. And with the lateral line, and I suppose from that, I said to him, "Let's make another fishing show, and we'll put it up on YouTube." And so we came up with a name, and that was the Lateral Line, because all fish have lateral lines. And spent a truckload of money building the infrastructure behind it, making sure we did it right. Nathan decided this time he wanted to be the cameraman instead of in front of the camera. He wanted to be filming it because he was enjoying it so much for this hunting. And he started film. And again, like Nathan's a perfectionist of whatever he does. So he went out there and researched it and found out that iPhones are the best way to get 4K footage now. Yeah. And iPhone also come out with full editing software through secondary apps and stuff like that. So he contacted a place in the States, and they're making and started interacting with them about their editing software and then their filming software. So we're actually filming in an app and we're editing in an app on our phone. Oh. And so everything's produced on our phones. so he's working all that, and so again, he's become a perfectionist at what he does with. I think is what he's producing with the lateral line is. I think it's back to what Big Angry Fish was at the beginning. It's a raw product, and it's about two mates going out and having a good time. And we love catching big fish, but it's not about that. We try to go away for 2 or 3 days, so we can capture the scenery and catch the fun and the enjoyment that we're actually having. And it's about, no one goes away. Like if you get on a boat with your mates and you go fishing, you don't come back and go, that was a shitty trip. I went away for 3 days with my mate and I didn't catch a big fish. You come back and you're like, that was the best trip ever, man. Because boys on the boat, you have a good time. Heaps of stuff goes on. And with Nathan, especially with his filming now, he wants to be the best cameraman that he can be. So if there's whales happening, if there's dolphins, if there's something happening, we're off. We're going to enjoy that. And it's quite funny because the comments coming back, people are like, I was out there the other day and I didn't catch any fish, but I saw a pod of dolphins, and the guy goes, oh, if that was Nathan, he'd drive over there and film those. So I drove over there and I hung out with him for an hour, and I hung out and I had the best day ever. And he wrote an email back to Nathan thanking him, because he just goes, I think about my fishing a little bit different, and it's a privilege. We get to go out and we get to have fun on the water. We don't need to get a license at this point in time. We can go buy a boat, grab our mates, shoot out to an island, go camping and stay on the boat for 2 or 3 days at a time, catch seafood, go and jump crayfish and paua and scallops and do whatever you want. And like, that's like gourmet food around the world. And we've got it on not on our back doorstep, but you can just go and enjoy it whenever you want. So the lateral line for us is making things easy again and enjoying life. It's all about, and it's hard. We've got to produce a content every 2 weeks. So we have to go fishing every second week, no matter if it's 30 knots of wind, 40 knots of wind, if it's big swell, little swell. So since we both get seasick, we're very harbour stuck, especially over the winter times. We've never filmed over August, September with Big Angry Fish. Why would you do it to yourself? It was too hard. Just film when the fishing's really, really good, and then leave those hard months. But we're having to produce content during those hard months. And to be honest, I enjoy it. I enjoy getting away. We're in a real open boat, but technology now, your clothing that you wear is so good that you're not cold, you're not wet, you're not out in the weather. It is raining and it's cold and that, but you've got the best clothes on, so you're super warm, you're super comfortable, and you're enjoying life. And we built our own boat. We got to build a boat that we always wanted to have for 15 years. We wanted a boat that was about fishing. And a cabin boat isn't a boat about fishing. A cabin boat is 2/3 of a boat that you can't utilize. And we decided, let's build just a big flat boat.
Yeah.
That you can sleep underneath the front deck. And then Nathan was like, I want a tent. And he went about building and designing a tent that went on the top. So we've got a 6-meter boat that's full castable all the way around, that you've got a double berth underneath and you've got a double berth on top. So when we go away, you've got super comfy conditions. It's the lateral line's awesome. Like I don't really care if people watch it or not, but it's awesome because Nathan and I enjoy making it, and it's fun, and it's back to what I always wanted to make out of a fishing show. When I wanted to make a fishing show when we started Big Angry Fish, I wanted to film the adventure that comes with the fishing.
I see the big smile on your face, Milan, which makes me believe you, and you're pretty passionate about it.
I've fished a lot of places in the world and gone to some really cool spots to go and catch fish that I always dreamed about, and I've done those trips and not caught those fish. But you get to hang with the natives and you hang out, and the stuff that you take away from those trips is beyond belief. So it's life's good. Life's good, and the lateral line is awesome. So
your evolution between Big Angry Fish and the Lateral Line reminds me a little bit about my progression from Epic, and then taking a bit of a breather out and doing Provider, which is probably more what I set out to do in the first place, much like yourself. But this time around, you sort of, with a bit of hindsight, do things on your terms. And
and you get out of stuff, Carl, and you kind of go, like, I got out of Big Angry Fish but you quickly remember that that's what you love. You love the outdoors. You love the fishing. Like I could fish in a puddle, man. I couldn't care where I'm fishing. I just want to go fishing. I don't care what I'm fishing for either.
Yeah.
I just want to go fishing. So it's, you know, and you forget that, I think, sometimes. And then when the demise of Big Angry Fish and it left, and I'm super happy that, like, I'm not unhappy that Big Angry Fish stopped. I'm super stoked that Big Angry Fish stopped, because it brought about the evolution of the Lateral Line, which is, again, just brought back to the rawness of what is enjoyable about going out. You go out with your mates and you go fishing. It's, yeah, I get it 100% with Provider. It's, you can't stay away from it is the problem. You get out, you went and did Walk for the Council, I think, even worse. So, you know, you go and do stuff and you kind of think I'll be happy, but you're not. You're I suppose your soul's with the water, and you end up just end up going back. And I'm a big believer, if you want something in life, go and do it. You know, if you want to be a fisherman, if you want to be a rally car driver, if you want to do it, you're only here for a medium amount of time, and time ticks by, especially as you start getting older. And you just got to. People, I think, we get too caught up in work, accumulation of wealth, and the Lateral Line isn't a money earner, but it's worth, you know, it's worth 10 jobs. You know, I'd rather someone said, "Oh, I could pay you 150 grand a year to go and work for me." I'd be like, "Nah, man, I'd rather do the Lateral Line, go filming and do the stuff with Nathan and create awesome memories for Nathan and myself down the track, and provide wicked entertainment for people." So yeah.
I think when I first wanted to go into guiding, into tourism and fishing, my dad said to me at the time, "Oh, mate, you shouldn't really mix your mix your passion or your hobby with your career." And about 3 years later, a guy we know, we're both riding for Fishing Coast to Coast at the time, Mike Rendell, he was at a barbecue of mine, and Dad was there. They were having a yarn, and I overheard him going, I sort of once gave Carl this little bit of advice. I've got to say now I was wrong. That was a pretty good moment just to hear Dad say that, and is like proud of what I've done. So yeah.
If you love fishing, go and get in the fishing arena. If you love motorsport or cars, go and work. Like, it's kind of, I don't understand it. It's like, I got told, don't work with your mates. I had a beautiful relationship with Nikolai over the course of 15 years with the Lateral Line. And during that time, I met Nathan, and, you know, now I'm my best mate. I've started a business with. We know each other. And I think as long as you do your job and you're good at what you do and your business part, and when you're working with your mates, you don't want to let your mates down. You know, you do a good job because that's what you do. I think working with your mates and doing what turning your love into your job is awesome. I wouldn't take it back.
There's probably quite a few people listening in that you know, we're part of New Zealand's in a lockdown at the moment. There might be a few people that have got the time because their work is on hold at the moment. What advice would you have to someone who was considering a bit of an evolution or career change, or that has got in the back of their head something I'd always wanted to do, and thinking now might actually be a good time to do that?
It's a hard one, Carl. It comes down to personality, but I've always been a little bit, I suppose, I've always wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I've always, if I wanted to do something, I've just kind of gone off on the path and just gone, I'll just go and do it.
Yeah.
And I think you need that, and you need to back yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't go, I'm the best fisherman in the country. I knew I could stick a hook in the back of a fish, and I had the patience to sit at a spot for days and days on end, and I knew a 30-kilo fish would turn up and I could put a hook in it. I was good at live baiting. I wasn't good at anything else. I'm not a great fisherman. I can't fly fish. I'm actually a real bad soft baiter. I don't marlin fish. But I try, and I don't know. It's a hard one. It's I think when I was young, I kind of had to defend for myself a little bit. And when you do that, I don't know. I've always been a big, if you want to do something, do it. And don't, why not? You only live once, and when you're gone, you're gone. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I want to be old and going, oh, I should have done that, or why didn't you do it? You know, I wish I travelled a little bit more before the whole COVID thing, because I think travel is going to be something that isn't going to be easy like it has been in the years before. We've been
100%.
privileged to travel pretty freely and openly and travel the world and do whatever. And it was cheap as chips to just get on a plane and fly halfway or fully around the world to go and do what you want. But if you want to do something, go and do it. And it's just not about fishing. It's about anything. And to be honest with you, you'll be happy because you're doing what you love. It doesn't matter. And as long as you're not doing it for money, but then if you have a love for money, you're going to be working in the banks or the stock exchange, or you're going to be buying and selling property, or you're going to be doing something because that's your passion and that's your drive. You know, I've never had a drive for money. I've had a drive for, I don't know, I just like enjoying my life. You know, I've always chuck a smile on and go out there and give it a go. And challenges are good because it puts you on the back foot. You know, Big Angry Fish was a huge amount of challenges with Big Angry Fish and dealing with stuff that I didn't want to deal with. But when you get in it, you can't stop. You just got to keep on going. You've got staff, and you've got, you got to deal with the good and the bad that comes with it. But I think if you're passionate about something and you love what you're doing, I think you'll succeed in it, because I think you surround yourself with the right people, and you got to be smart about it as well. But and a lot of people don't have a shit ton of money to invest and chuck into stuff. And we put a lot on the line when we did it. I quit my job, and so we were down to one salary, and we invested a lot of money into Big Angry Fish, and potentially we lost it because we gave up on it and went to Japan, and all that money was gone. And in the end, they accepted our last pilot. I don't know if that's fate, and I don't even know if that wasn't the end of it. Would I have done something else, and would I have tried again? Probably, because while I was in Japan, I would have just been looking around for something to do, because Karen was working there, I wasn't. So I would have been bored, and I've got ADHD coming out my ears, so I would have been bored in 2 seconds flat, and I would have just gone and found something within the fishing arena in Japan, or Guam was close, or I think just do what you want to do in life. I think, and if you have a passion for something, go and do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think one of the things I loved about Big Angry Fish, and especially when it first came out, something that really set it apart. And I'd have to say that philosophy comes through on the Lateral Line, which I've just watched the latest episode before we hopped on the line, is the cinematography and the landscapes, capturing New Zealand's iconic coastal landscapes, and I think you guys have done that particularly well. Where do you think's the nicest, most stunning, most beautiful part of New Zealand that you've been to and filmed?
I haven't been much down the South Island, which is something I want to do, and I haven't done a lot around Wellington and stuff like that. And I want to do it. I'm a far north person because it's isolated. But to be honest, Aotea and the Black Sand over on the west coast is probably it's the hardest place to fish, but it's the most beautiful place to be. And that's probably why you'll see a lot in Aotea and Kapia on those west coasts in the show. I don't know. It'd have to be Parangaranga and Aotea Harbour. So would be the two contrasts, one end of the country to the other, but that'd be the two. And I still want to go down and do that helicopter trip you did down in the fjords and stuff like that, because I believe that's going to be some of the most scenic stuff. Not necessarily to film, but just to go and experience that.
Mate, you've got to get down there. It is absolutely stunning, and so many places to hide for you. It's just your style of fishing, all those fjords, and catching harpooker right up at the end of a fjord while we're waiting for our helicopters to come in. Something I'll always remember. It was crazy.
Yeah, there's lots of things I still want to do, but that Cape Maria Van Diemen area, Twilight Beach up far north, walking into like if you've never done the walk into Cape Maria Van Diemen, it's worth the walk. That's just stunning. It's the tip of our country, and it's just a beautiful location and beautiful sand dunes, and then again, Aotea is different. It's all black, the black sand and stuff like that. So that's why the contrast, I think. But they're the two places that I love.
There's a good idea for anyone listening or watching that's in lockdown. Start making a list of all the places in New Zealand you haven't been to that you want to get to. Top of my list, and I got to do a little bit of training first, but is I keep looking. The pointy mountain that sits right next to the top of the Kopuhikawai. It's called Kaitarakihi, and I see it coming in from whenever I come in from the Aldermans. I see it when I drive back from Auckland to the Coromandel, and I always look up it and go, I'm going to climb that one day. Yeah, that's the top.
Track to the top.
Yeah, straight to the top, mate.
Is there a track up there?
There is a track. I think 3 hours to the top. Yeah.
Oh,
Easy. Wow, we'll see. I'm going to go do it. I saw in your last video you had a barbecue on board. You're doing a bit of cooking. There's some fish tacos going down. When you're back at home in the kitchen, what's your favorite way to cook seafood? I'm
pretty eggs and breadcrumbs. I'm pretty simple. I do all the cooking on the boat because Nathan does all the filming and editing. So he edits at night, so I do all the cooking and cleaning and coffee and stuff. But I'm eggs and breadcrumbs pretty much. I love it. It's so simple and it's so easy. And I've tried to do fancy stuff, but I just go back to eggs and breadcrumbs, salt and pepper. Sometimes you put a bit of garlic in there, and sometimes you do other stuff. But when you haven't had fish for a while and you just go back to that same simple way of cooking fish, it's can't beat it.
Panko crumb and air go. Maybe with a bit of Cajun spice mixed in there. Bloody beautiful.
Yeah, I find panko crumbs suck up a little bit of too much oil sometimes as well. So I like normal breadcrumbs as well. Just so you don't get so much oil in your fish. Yeah.
So with your gardens, what are you sort of matching up with your fish? What are you eating out of your gardens?
Well, I try to live off the land, so I try to grow all my own veggies all the way through. Chips, I like cooking chips with my fish, but we eat a lot of salads. I try not to eat too much meat now. Just try to cut my meat back a little bit and just eat what I can pull off the land. So if Nathan shot it with the bow,
so wild meat rather than farm meat.
I wouldn't go. It's not often. I go down to Graham's at the butchery down at Mootown Meats and get some steak on the odd occasion. But I'd eat steak maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks. But other than that, it's only what we're getting off what Nathan's hunting with the bow or what we're catching out at sea. So other than that, I'm eating rice and making curries and doing all that stuff more so than having a lot of meat. So more so because I just like to know where my produce is coming from. As I said, I don't like using sprays on the property or anything like that. So it's nice to know that all my veggie garden, it's all my own food, and I bring all my own seeds and I bring all my own plants up, and so it's just giving more time to gather your food and get all your food and stuff like that instead of spending at work. It's kind of just having that mentality of earning less money, but you don't need to earn the money because you're on the land, working the land. So
it's interesting that the more time you spend in the garden, isn't it? And just looking at the plants and like when stuff goes to bolts and goes to seed. And that was the first time this summer that I actually just started keeping it all. And then
stuff go, like put 10 broccolis in or 20 or do 10 and then 10 and 10 and then on coming to the end of the broccoli season, put 10 in and leave them and let them seed out. Collect all the seed, and then you got seed for the next year. But finding organic seed is becoming harder and harder and harder as well. So seed that will actually reproduce for the years after. So it's just getting that, and we've got enough fruit. I've got enough fruit diversity now that we can have fruit. We fruit all year round. So we've actually got fruit. We never don't have fruit in the garden, which is another great aspect as well. So it's just trying to just find out how to live off the land and and then just cook and eat what you're actually making yourself.
So you've talked on quite a few elements of well-being, like nutrition, connection through going fishing with your mates, getting out there in nature. Tell us a little bit about, you were back in the day, you were right into bodybuilding, weightlifting. What are you doing fitness-wise?
Train every day at the gym, do an hour at the gym every day.
Yep.
Do back, chest, arms, legs, shoulders. So an hour a day in the gym, just do my training, and I walk lots, walk in the mornings when I can. So generally just try to just stay healthy, more so because I'm 45, coming on 46, Carl, and you just got to keep moving, man. You know, it's not so much about trying to pump more weights or do anything like that. It's more just trying to keep the body moving. And you know, the boys, like, because I'm always digging, I'm considering digging my pond at the section, and they go, "What are you going to dig your pond for?" And I was like, "Because it's, you know, just get in the garden and pick up the spade and start digging." You know, I did it at the house that I'm at the moment. It took me 7 years to dig the garden in there and complete it, and I did it all with a spade instead of getting, you know, diggers in. And it's just keeping your body moving and just staying fit. Otherwise, as you get old, you just kind of start slowing down. And I don't want to slow down. I want to be young and keep it going, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I've done many similar days on the property since we got it. Yeah, digging fence holes, and lots of people are saying, why don't you just get a post hole borer? I did the start of it with that, but then I just like, actually the exercises is pretty bloody good, and you feel good at the end of the day. But
that's more so the point as well, Carl. When you at the end of the day, you're in good shape, you feel good, you've got lots of energy, you know, it makes you smile because you do that. And I think that just gives you a positive vibe for your day and everything else. You know, I think just keeping the soul and just keeping everything good and just charged, and, you know, sleeping well. And, you know, it's, I don't drink alcohol. I try to just do, you know, I try to keep myself in good stead for having a good life. So
nice, mate. Yeah. Well done. I got my son is in the gym pretty much every day. Well, before lockdown he was, and so this lockdown there were some weights lying around, and I said, well, why don't we sort those out and we'll set up a gym here at home. And so he gave me a bit of a PT session, and man, I felt it for 2 or 3 days. But it's bloody awesome to see his passion for it. He's just right into it. He knows every muscle that's being used, and how, you know, what angle to put my arm on or my leg on, it's just awesome. So I'll be doing a bit of that over the next few months, I'd say. So you're, and something else that you're passionate about, so you talk lots about fishing and using that gift and passion in business. Something you've also talked about is architecture. That's sort of something that shines through as well with your boat build. Tell us a little bit about that side of your life and what rings your bells.
I try to I enjoy the design. I build light fittings as well. For the houses we do. We did a house over at Waihi Beach, and as we all know, that real estate in New Zealand's actually a good thing to do if you can afford to get in, do something. And all we've done is, you know, buy a house and do it up and try to hold on to it, and then use your equity to do another one. It's I love it. I'm first time I get to build my own home. Which will be which I'm hopefully going to film as well and do a full. I wouldn't mind starting an architectural channel. Nathan's kind of got his hunting channel, so I've been looking at maybe doing an architectural channel, and I wouldn't mind building some A-frame homes and stuff like that. I've got a different style of architecture that I like.
Bro, I need to show you my design for my new home.
I really want to.
That's an A-frame.
Yeah, I love A-frame. Like A-frame, I was going to build an A-frame house here in Morrinsville for the next build that I was doing, but A-frame, you need a huge floor print if you want to use it for your own living house,
Yeah,
or you need to perfect for a beach house because you can just with the restraints of how much building's gone up in the last wee while
yeah,
and materials being so expensive, you can build small A-frames really affordably, and they're awesome, and you can do some really cool stuff with them. But once you start going quite big, they become quite expensive, and you need to go big just to get the floor area.
yeah.
Otherwise, you just don't. You spend a shitload of money and you don't get the floor area. So I've done heaps of research into A-frames. I've done heaps of design work on A-frames, and I had a full house ready to go, designed a full A-framed house for the place in Morrinsville, and then went back to 45-degree roof pitches and scissor trusses and attic trusses, and
Yeah.
just to give my space up in the ceiling space and all that kind of stuff. Instead of going A-frame, I've just kind of pulled down to 45 degrees to give me my ceiling spaces, and because building's so expensive now, it's I just don't have the money to just go and throw $1 million at an A-frame build, and that's pretty much what it's going to cost these days to build something. It's
Pretty
it's a
scary.
horrendous amount of money just to chuck into it. So
Yeah. So Waihi Beach. So you had a bit of property there. You've done. I know you've done a huge amount of fishing out of the Tauranga Harbour and out in front of Waihi Beach. So where I wanted to go next is a little bit about fisheries management, because you would have seen your fair share of purse seiners and trawlers out of there, especially on the huge schools of mackerel, skippies, kahawai. That place at times is absolutely abundant with bait working on the surface. Still to the life of me, I can't work out why these big boats scoop out whole schools of fish and send it offshore at a ridiculously low price. What's your take on how our fishery is managed? Are we on the right track? Everyone says our quota management system is world class. What's your take on that?
Well, I believe that our quota system, we're going backwards. We go backwards in the way we used to have. I think it was 10 or 15 snapper when I started fishing. I think we might have been 30 snapper when I started fishing. And now we're down to 7. We're always getting quota cuts if it's crayfish, if it's whatever it is. And as anglers, that are on the water a lot, we're actually seeing the decline. So we take less. I still want to fish, but we let our fish go. You don't kill the big fish. You let a lot of the fish go, because we're seeing the decline. Like when I started Big Angry Fish, if you came up to me and said, Milan, I want you to take me to catch a 30-kilo kingfish, I pretty much could have guaranteed that I could have done that in a day.
Yeah.
I reckon I could have taken you to, I had enough spots that I believe that if I picked the conditions and we went when I wanted to go, I could have produced a 30-kilo fish for you.
Yeah.
If you could have landed, that was a different thing, but I reckon I could put that fish in front of you to catch. Now, I reckon it'd take 10 or 20 days on the water. I still think I know where those fish are, but you're not just going to go and catch those fish. You need to go there and you need to work your ass off to catch those fish. So in my view, our fishery is going backwards. And if we keep on taking declining quota, then the quota management system doesn't work. I'm a little bit like, I don't know, with what you said, if fish are being taken out of the water for a low value, then why take them out? I believe in locking a lot of our coastline up in reserves, because, but I also believe that we should be rotating our reserves. And I believe that there is, like, if we lock a place up for 2 or 3 years, and this is A's blocked up and then B's open and then C's closed now, and you open up huge amounts of, like, a third of the Bay of Plenty is open and 2/3 are closed. A third of the Coromandel is open and 2/3 are closed, but we open up areas that are fully loaded with fish, or we take it 12K. You know, you go out and you draw a line down the coast, and rec guys, we work out how much rec quota is taking, and you draw a line, and commercial can be outside that line, an inshore fishery, and they can fish offshore. I don't know. The problem is, Carl, I think, to be honest, we should just stop fishing altogether and let the oceans come back a little bit, and try to take some pressure off them and do a little bit of fishing. But I don't have the answer. Like the reserves I put in at Motiti, they're great that the reserves are down there and it's going to protect them, but really going down there and chucking a stick bait round and catching a kingfish and letting it go. We all know kingfish can take it being caught and recaptured and stuff like that. So why, if we're not anchoring in there and we're going through and we're doing some fishing and we're releasing those fish, why can't we do that? Why can't we have a little bit of that? And I'd happily pay. Why can't I pay $20 or $30 to go down there, or $50? I don't know. I don't have the answers, and I try to stay out of it because it's a political football. It's like COVID. You're either pro COVID or not COVID. It's kind of like, who do you talk to about it? It's like the fisheries. It's kind of like, I think the rec guys have got a right to be out there. I think the commercial guys have got to be right to be out there. The commercial guys got given a quota by the government and said, you can go out there and we believe you can take this much fish and you're not harming the environment. And I think the commercial fishermen actually do give a shit about their environment, even if they are purse seining and taking a whole load of skippies or carwai. The guys on those boats, I've pulled up alongside when we had big angry fish and chatted to most of those commercial fishermen, and they're awesome dudes. Like, they're like, hey, we've just seined a school of fish over there, and it's all kingfish, go over there, and you go over there and there's kingies everywhere, and it's like they're fishermen and they love it just as much as I did, and we persecute them for doing their job. It's like you persecuting me for going out and filming big angry fish, just because they're still doing it legally, or they're not doing it. If someone's saying they're allowed to, and I think that's where we need to be a little bit more proactive as consumers, and don't buy the fish. Actually put our vote. The recreational anglers in New Zealand aren't the best at being one voice. There's a lot of us that fish, and if all of us got smart and put our votes together, that's $300,000 or $400,000. That's three or 400,000 votes. There's, even if it's 250,000 votes, that's a lot of votes of passionate fishermen that believe in something and put our own stuff together and go. But we're New Zealanders, and I think New Zealanders are just, I don't know, we're just, she'll be right type of attitude a little bit too much. We just go with it because we don't believe we're getting the wool pulled over our eyes. But I think those days are gone, maybe a little bit. I think the wool being pulled over our eyes, and I think it's we do need to band together, and how we do that, I don't know. I don't have, and people like Scott McIndoe and the group at Legacy and stuff like that going, I'm going to give it a go. I might not do it right, and I might not get the results that we're all after, but at the end of the day, we did a river. The river here in Morrinsville was absolutely diabolical. It was full of rubbish. It was full of weeds. It was horrible. And I went down there last time it got locked down, and I took my kids down there, and it was a rubbish tip, and I was just like, this is the most pristine environment in Morrinsville. There's 100-year-old trees down here. It's absolutely stunning, and it's full of weeds, and it's full of rubbish, and it's glass, and it's disgusting, and there's kids playing down there and everything else. And I'm like, this is the state of what we have. This is the state of our waterways. This is Morrinsville, and it's kind of, so instead of going to the council and complaining about it, we Nathan and I put a team together, and we went to Nicholson's here in town and said we want to clean up the river, and it's taken us 12 months, and we've cleaned up about a K of river in 12 months. And like working bees every second weekend, getting down there and slogging our asses and doing huge amounts of hours down there to get the place looking awesome. And that's what we need to do as rec anglers for the ocean. At some stage, somebody's got to go, I'll be the voice, I'll stand up, I'll do it, and we'll do it properly. And we've actually got to band all the fishermen together. Otherwise, I think we're on you're an uphill battle.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and I commend you for your work you're doing, cleaning up your own backyard. And I think the slogan that best suits that is "Be the change." Like, you just gotta do some sort of small baby step. And same with the quota management system. I I see a few people around the country now doing some cool stuff in the commercial space, and sooner ultimately it's up to consumers and purchasers as well to go, is the seafood I'm buying ethically caught?
Yeah, and then
Like,
is that even ethical with the labeling and stuff like that? Sometimes, it's kind of like you've got to read between the lines. I think if you've got an opinion, Carl, you've almost got to. If you're going to have an opinion on something, you've got to be actively, if you're going to go, I don't like commercial fishing and I don't like this, well, that's cool, but what are you doing to fix it? Because we've all got an opinion and we've all shouted it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Now it just doesn't work. You actually have to do something, and it's putting your time. And none of us, we're all time poor. We're being set up this ideal life of, you go through school and you don't get taught about it. You just get taught you need a job, you need to go do 40 hours a week, you need to go work for someone, you need to do this, you need to do that. You get so consumed with work and everything else that you forget there's no time, especially when you have kids and stuff. You've got kids, I've got kids. You put a couple of kids in there, you've got no time for anything. And you just get so tied up in your own stuff, you don't have 20 hours a week to chuck it trying to change the rec commercial fishery in New Zealand, because that's what it's going to take, or even full time. That's a major.
Yeah, and you brought Scott up. I take my hat off to all the work and time and energy that Scott puts into it. He's a great man. And
it's a hard one, Carl. It's a big question.
Yeah. It's I think I think, and I hope change is coming. I just, like you, I'd probably like to see it at a faster rate. I'd just like to see. I've got totally nothing against commercial fishing. I think, restaurants should be serving up our awesome kai moana. I think they should just be getting it a little bit smarter. Like, most of our restaurants in town have to get it out of Auckland, and one of them gets it out of Nelson. Flies, it's pretty much on the truck then. Yeah, and it could just be coming straight from the ocean to them. There's a perfect example. Just lots of examples like that, and we should be looking after our own people, I think. And especially, there's a lot of chronic illness in New Zealand: diabetes, heart disease. Fish is one of the best things you can be eating to address that. So we should be looking after, like, even the blue mackerel we're talking about. That's actually awesome kai. Why are we not getting that into our cities, into even low income neighborhoods, and feeding people? That's what I love about Legacy, Kayaka, what they're doing, making sure the whole fish is utilized. That sun is I see you've lost a little bit of your sun. The sun's just streaming its last rays over the hill, over the western hills beside us. Pretty glorious.
Yeah.
So what's left for the last little bit of your lockdown, Milan? What other chores have you got planned?
Just plant some more trees out on the farm. I call it the farm, even though it's only like an acre, but I call it the farm.
Yeah.
Just go there and muck around with the kids every day and plant some more stuff, dig some more holes. I got a bit of ADHD, so sitting still's not something I'm good at. So I'm getting better with age, but I have a lot of energy to burn every day. So picking up a spade is an easy way to burn through a bit of energy for me. So and what you're talking about, keeping yourself fit and being on the land and digging a hole and getting your hands in the dirt actually makes you feel pretty damn good. Maybe more of us should be doing it,
Yeah. It's been awesome talking to you, Milan. Very, very good to catch up. It's been a while. And
it's been a while to actually talk to you, Carl. We should be doing it more. We talk about it, and then we never get around to doing it. So it's actually been nice to catch up with you.
Let's go fishing sometime, eh?
Sounds like a plan, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, Milan. We'll catch you soon, mate.
Okay, brother.